Is liberty dying where you live? Escape to Keene at freekeene.com.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for coming out to be here today. I'm really honored that all of you would decide to join me tonight to watch the screening of Derrick J's Victimless Crime Spree Director's Cut. This has some differences to the original movie, which you can find at victimlesscrimespree.com. It's got some updated, higher quality video and also a completely new soundtrack that I think you're all going to enjoy. I had a lot of fun making this movie, working with all of the great people of the Shire Society. It was not so much fun being in jail, but you know, the good with the bad. And how about please a round of applause for Ian and for Paul for making this happen today, for making the audio work. Without Ian's tireless efforts and the many good people of Keene and of New Hampshire, this film wouldn't have been possible. And so thank you for being here, and I would be more than happy to take any questions that you may have after the movie. So please enjoy. So thanks a lot for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed it. You know, as the credits roll here, I want to thank Ian again and thank Bo for editing the video and making it possible. Do I need a check? I don't know.
Just do it. You're fine.
All right. So yeah, I would be very happy to answer any questions that you guys have got. Of course, like you just sat through a 90-minute movie, so if you use the bathroom or whatever, like, please go ahead. But yeah, I see a hand.
Did you come to New Hampshire with the intention of getting arrested, or did that just sort of happen and you said, okay, let me go with this?
Okay, so just so everyone can hear, the question was, did I move to New Hampshire with the intention of getting arrested? Or did that just happen and I went with that? Is that what you're asking? So I was inspired to move to Keene specifically because of the civil disobedience that happens here. Because people like Penn Jillette endorse you know, what's going on in Keene. I didn't expect to get arrested. My first arrest was, as you saw, filming in the court after Ademo got arrested. All I wanted to do was capture what was happening, and so I was surprised that I was arrested. Of course, you heard me say, no, I've got work today, this isn't happening. But yeah, so once it happened, I just had to go with it, because I knew I got ready for trial and everything. I had to be ready to answer for my crimes. So yeah, that's something I just sort of went with once it fell into my lap. Hey.
Yeah. With applicants for the police department around the country being turned down for scoring too high,
Yeah.
do you think the future of the police is to be boorish or bully type?
Yeah, well, it seems like, you know, I've had law enforcement in my family, so I'm not like extra biased or anything, but yeah, I would say that's their old school method and their new school method. There's nothing new there. Hey.
Hi. Did your acts change anything with the way that things operate in Keene, with the way that the courts operate, with the way that the police operate? I mean, do you think that it had some kind of effect at any point? Do you think that it's made people think?
Well, I guess there have been a handful of reactions. It depends on the individual for that, like whether or not my actions made them think that what I did was right or what the police did was right or wrong. You know, it depends on the individual. And besides, it's tough for me to answer that at all because I can't say what it was like before I was there. You know what I mean?
Did anything change as a result, though, in terms of policy? I mean, it seemed like they were just kind of stretching to say that you couldn't be in there, where really you probably had legal ground to be there. I mean,
yeah. Well, my observation was that the police and the bureaucrats would often rely on their just like stern voice of being like, well, this is what I'm telling you, so you better obey. And that wasn't, that was the only thing that really changed, was that they would just, they would assert things and say, well, I just told you what the federal law is. You better obey that. They can do whatever they want. I don't know if anything is, I don't know if, I'm trying to think of an example of where they've like backed off. If anyone can help me think of like an example where the bureaucrats in Keene said, well, maybe we shouldn't. I can think of some examples when I've been in cars, pulled over, and have been in the car in Keene. We've got like 5 activists in the car, all with video cameras rolling, and the cops are like, oh, all right, not gonna pursue this one today. You guys have a good day, just go along. So that's sort of a win there.
And you were acting as a member of the press, so I mean, did any, First Amendment rights groups, press groups come to your rescue? I mean,
I worked
to them. I mean,
I worked for the ACLU and raised a bunch of money for them, and I would think that they would be ready to jump to my aid for something like this. They're not really interested in cases like that I've noticed. And Pete, you had something that you were.
Yeah, I was just going to add, I mean, some of the impact too is not just necessarily like with the bureaucrats in Keene, but also like people who are familiar with what happened to Derrick and his story and who've seen this video and who followed along. I mean, there's been, I don't know how many thousands of people that are familiar with it who have been inspired by his activism and, have probably seen the results like being a peaceful person versus an aggressor can have. But I guess my question is, what suggestions do you have for other folks who might find themselves in similar situations?
Record, get video. Video is an objective record of what's happening. And so, given what you've seen, given what you know about how police will lie in court to cover their own mistakes, it's very important that you capture what's happening around you in an objective way. So video is number one. I think that would be like the standard of like get video. There are other things that you can do depending on like what kind of person you are, like stand your ground or learn the laws, whatever makes sense to you. Like, I'm not terribly interested in learning all the laws. Like, I know in my heart what's right and wrong. So I'm not gonna go and research, well, am I allowed to film here? Like, I'll take my chances. What's up?
Since they got the tank,
Oh yeah.
has the tank been used for anything?
I haven't
as
seen
far
it.
as you know?
No, I haven't seen it come out. They have plans for it to be like rolled through in the 4th of July parade. I think they're gonna like, play their songs and throw out some red carpet for the thing. I don't know what they'll do, but yeah, I think it's pretty much for show. That was it wasn't like totally explained, but it was a like $300,000 grant from the Department of Homeland Security, which was used to purchase this tank. And it's not the only one in the country. It's one of 200 that currently exist, and more are being rolled out. So hopefully Tanks But No Tanks can serve as a model for other towns to follow. Hopefully they'll be more successful than Keene was. And I heard just today that Berkeley refused a tank. The people of Berkeley were successful in saying no. And that's great. Hopefully the momentum flows more in that direction. Hey.
Hi, Derrick.
Hey.
You think it was worth it for the cost, now that it's all through and done? Would you do it again?
Well, the full cost hasn't been paid. I've still got my sentence over my head, and a year and 6 months to go. So hopefully the cost has been paid, and that I don't land up in jail again. But I obviously, I was arrested while riding my bicycle down the road and hadn't committed any crime. I could be arrested for looking at a cop wrong. So I'm avoiding the cops today. I'm in New Hampshire at my own risk today because I couldn't stay away from Liberty Forum. I'll be at Pork Fest. These events are very important. And Convention also, which I hope you'll attend. It's November 1st to the 3rd this year, first ever. And yeah, but is it worth it? Has it been worth it? Yeah, for sure. I'm so happy when I want more peaceful resistance to happen. I want, that's why I moved to Keene. I was like, other people are peacefully resisting. I didn't have the courage to do that myself until I came to a place where other people were doing it and I could know that I have support. And so hopefully more people will do that and follow the laws that's written on their heart, because then I think we'll have a more peaceful world. I saw your hand next, and then no.
I'm just, do you guys as activists, do you like practice or do you role play the scenarios? Because I notice you're very, there's a performance quality to the language that you guys use, and you seem like you're prepared for a lot of it. So I'm wondering if you guys ever do that. If you ever, like, just one of you put on a cop hat and like,
Bounce.
There's no one putting on like cop hats and pretending that they're, arresting anyone yet. But it's a great question, because you saw my Live for Your Dance arrest where I'm like yelling up at the cop while my hands are behind me. And it looks awful, and people are screaming at the police. It's a really bad scene. And I don't want to collectivize too much, but if you'll excuse this for a moment, we came together and said, like, bad job, like everyone failed. Can we do better? How do we do better? And 5 days later is when Give Peace a Chance happened. And it was because, in my opinion, it was because I had talked with others about how to do civil disobedience successfully and to like be mindful of the cameras and like, that was a show, that was an act, that was like a demonstration. Give Peace a Chance was. The Live for Your Dance was like a train wreck, we only got one song into the dance party, no one got to dance, the police ruined the whole thing, people were shouting, and that was not, that was not the model. And then, so yeah, it was really helpful to be able to talk to a group of other people, look back at old videos, like people that I worship, like Lauren Canario, who has done some awesome civil disobedience where, she stands and does like plank, the YouTube sensation of planking, where people will stand straight as a board. And she's doing that while they're trying to like force her into a cop car, and they're having a horrible time with it. But it's a great visual for people to see, like, oh my gosh, these young strapping men just treating an old woman that way? How dare they? So it's like important to be mindful of the camera and how this is going to look later when people watch it. I'm sorry. I saw
I was up earlier.
this hand earlier, and then I'll go to you. Is that okay? Or did I answer your question already?
No, I have basically the question is just as you've been inspired by videos that you've seen before you moved here, those people watching your DVD and being inspired by you, what sort of advice do you have for the activists that moves here with your activism in mind, and how they should proceed to do it successfully?
So I wouldn't say, all right. There is no like definite right or wrong, first of all, and it would be my preference that these people are strictly peaceful, that they refrain from foul language. I even regret calling the cop, I think I called him a jerk, which is like, I know, it's really bad, but Dave Ridley, who was one of the huge inspiration for why I came to Keene, because of his videos, he was filming people civilly disobeying, he called me out on calling the cop a jerk, and that hurt. I was like, you're right, Dave, sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Like, it makes me look like the bad guy here, and makes me look like maybe I should be on the ground below this man. And so it's really important to keep the moral high ground. Be a good person, always be in the right. If you can. I mean, obviously everyone's human, but just do the best you can, at least while the cameras are on.
So my question is, you had said earlier that you're not sure if your actions have actually changed anything or not in terms of their policies. And so my question is,
Yeah.
If you're not sure if it's changed anything, what motivates you to be civilly disobedient?
Because their policies don't matter. It's your actions that matter. So that's it. It doesn't matter if their policies haven't changed. If in my mind, it would be better to have 500 people disobeying a bad law than to have the government say like, oh, okay, we'll change the law. Like, it's better that people are acting on their own conscience and their own hearts, at least in my opinion, than for people to just follow the law when the law changes. Like, you know what's right, do what's right. You know, you don't need people in bureaucratic seats telling you, okay, now you have permission to do the right thing. Like, don't wait for that permission.
Gentleman in the black shirt had a question before.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
I noticed you were recording them, but they were also recording you. And there was video up there, people being dragged into the elevator. That was obviously security cameras. So how were you able to secure those videos? Did you do a 91A or something? Was it something for your own defense?
Yeah, that video, I don't know who, I did not file the 91A for that, at least not that I remember. I
think it was Tally. I think Tally did.
Tally, yeah, Jason Tally.
The security
You
camera
used
footage.
91A to get it.
Yes, it was a 91A that was used.
This security camera footage for Jason's trial, that was discovery.
Yeah, that wasn't 91A, it was Discovery.
Oh, thank you for the correction. Okay, so the question was 91A used to receive the court footage? No, it was part of Discovery for Jason Tally's trial. Hey, Roger Bear.
What do you plan to do upon your return to the Shire?
That's a great question. I don't know yet. I don't intend to do that again. That was a one-time thing, at least, you know, today. That's what I'm saying right now. Right now I'm doing media production. I'm producing a show called Peace News Now, which is very similar to the Free Agents Radio News program that you saw in the movie. It's a 5-minute audio and video production, which you can find on YouTube or iTunes, which focuses on the world of peaceful resistance. What's going on 7 days a week. So it's likely, at least now, in my assessment of what's going to be happening 2 years from now, it's likely that I'll be working on that. And not trying to get arrested or do anything, but focus on what other people are doing. Hello.
Could you tell us more about that crossing guard?
Yeah, the crossing guard almost didn't make it into the movie, so I'm really glad you asked. That was, we were watching the flick in several incarnations while Bo was editing, and we sat down and watched it in the Keene Activity Center, and Ian remarked, you know, what happened to the crossing guard? That was a huge incident, and he was absolutely right. That was huge. For people who follow the Free Keene blogs or the Shire Society forums, that blew up. People were taking polar sides of that issue, like, did I do the right thing, did I do the wrong thing, was I harassing this woman, was she harassing me? People were totally separated on that issue. Even my dad, like, is against me on that one. And whatever, I think it was still fascinating footage, because all I did was turn on a camera. I really did not harass that woman at all. She just,
but
boom.
You interacted with her before.
No, actually, no, I hadn't. That was the amazing thing, and that's what, like, it's hard to tell from the footage, because, like, you know, you walk up to someone and, like, turn on a camera. Well, that's where the recording starts, you know? And
B-roll,
she
right?
chose, yeah, it was just B-roll. It was intended to be like, I had gotten some footage of the buses arriving and some footage of the school sign. I was just getting some footage of, like, what was happening that day. And I was intending to put together, like, maybe a 2-minute video of just, like, some activists in Keene handed out literature to students. Some administration didn't like it. The end, you know? But it happened to be that this woman gave me some fascinating video to put online because she just decided to attack me with her sign. And it was so absurd to me because the sign is the tool that this woman is trusted with to keep children safe. And she was using this tool to harm a stranger. You know, it's like really weird. Weird choice, especially for a woman who is wearing a badge of the Keene Police, which I don't know if you could see very well in the video. She actually has a Keene Police badge on. Just blew my mind. Like, this is accountability. So I really appreciate those questions.
Another one.
Oh yeah, sure. If you've got them, sure.
During our last election, we had 2 constitutional amendments on the ballot. The second was that the legislature could deal with court rules.
Yeah.
So it failed. But had that passed, could you have then, so I was wondering, a good example of how that could have been used. Could you have then approached the legislature and asked them to change the court rules so that you could have videotaped in the court? Do you think that would have been the case?
Yeah. I mean, the Glick decision gives a pretty good precedent for something like that.
Because I understand that the courts are allowed to make their own rules, and it seemed to me that that's what was happening.
They sure are.
They were making them up on the fly.
Yes, they make them up on the fly, exactly. Yeah, I mean, as you saw, Judge Burke laughably, I mean, I hope we can laugh about this because I'm not in jail right now, but Judge Burke said that the Constitution is irrelevant. I mean, I almost wet myself. It was like, I can't believe that that would really happen in real life. I had heard about stuff like that, like, judges can do whatever they want, but I never internalized it until I was saying, well, but the Constitution. And he's like, no. What? Oh, wow, okay, all right. And then even, I read the law, and I didn't have the time in the video to explain all of this, but in the text of the law that I was charged with for refusing to process, so it was resisting arrest. Verbal refusal is not resisting arrest. It specifies that in the law. It says so. And all I wanted to do was read the law in trial. No. I don't know how a person is supposed to treat that as a place of justice or honesty or anything. If you're not allowed to talk about what the law says, but you're allowed to be found guilty of it, that is a perfect example of how the courts do whatever they want. And I don't know, that's why I see civil disobedience as like a really important part of it, because like you can try and get justice from the legislature, you can try and get justice from the courts, you can try and get justice from whoever, but really until you just, in my opinion, until you take responsibility for your own actions and just say like this is the hill I'm going to die on, arrest me if you must, then that's what I would like to see. I know that not everyone is in a position where they can just like up and let themselves be caged, but if everyone would just do what they knew was right in their heart, I think that the world would be like massively corrected. A lot of the harm that the bureaucrats and government people do would disappear. They wouldn't be able to continue to hurt peaceful people if peaceful people just would continue to peacefully assert their own rights. Is that pretty fair?
Yeah.
Answer your question.
I guess, for the last year or so, I've been thinking of, the legislature is also called the general court. And as citizens, we're supposed to be able to appeal to that legislature to right a wrong. It seemed to me that was pretty obviously a wrong.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Too bad they shut down the grievance committee.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Paul Ingerson and Dan Itzer and all of those, they were the ones that actually brought this up.
I really wish I can say that I have like faith in any government office to be able to right the wrongs, but I don't. I really have a lot more faith in all of you acting on your principles than I do in any of the so-called representatives. They're not going to give you freedom.
Tell us about the DVD that's in that box.
Hey, thanks. I didn't even realize. Check it out. So, as Ian just pointed out, there's a bunch of DVDs in this box, and they all look like this. At least they should. Bo Davis designed the front and back cover, which looks great. Pretty professional job, and it's exactly the movie that you just watched. Plus, how many hours of bonus footage?
Something like 7.
7 hours of bonus footage, just like insane. We pretty much put all of Keen Activism for the last year onto one disc that you can watch. it was specially made so that it could fit more footage than would normally be allowed. So like you have to access all of the footage, you have to put it in your computer. Like it won't work on just a DVD drive. We've got bonus features that you can access through your DVD drive, but to access the full extent of all the bonus footage, you would have to put it in your computer. You can also get Shire Choir song sheets, the ones that we were singing from in the movie, are on this disc. So, you know, you just pop it in your computer and you've got the Chronic Christmas carols that were so nefarious and harmful to the community. That's just a couple of things that are on here. Also, I did a solo commentary track where I went through and watched the movie, recorded my own voice, and just some of my reflections a couple of months after the movie was made, where I was just like explaining where some of the footage came from or what I was thinking at the time of my arrests. So that's some insight that you can get if you want some extra information. And also, I did a commentary track with Ian and Bo, the producer and editor. It's also on Amazon. Just, you know, like we've got them here today, but if you're still thinking, or if you want to pick up some for people who are far away, it's at order.victimlesscrimespree.com, so you can check it out there. And let me just make sure. Oh yeah, there's other printable activist outreach material. Things like the Don't Take the Plea Deal flyers that you saw in the video. We've got some of those on here. They're also on freekeen.com. So I think that's it for what's on the DVD.
Premiere video.
Oh yeah, the premiere. We did a real-life premiere in Keene Cinemas, to which this was my favorite part of all of it. The Keene police showed up. Oh, good. And they weren't there to arrest me, which is even better. I was like thrilled. He wouldn't come in. It was Officer Short, the one who ordered the arrest for Give Peace a Chance. And even though we're like enemies, like in the movie, we're like our characters are enemies. Like, you know, I've got a place in my heart for this criminal, this guy. I don't know. So yeah, it was a happy time, and so you can see the real life premiere at Keene Cinemas. That was all documented by Garrett, who's documenting now, and by a few others. And there was also a Q&A session about the movie. So very similar to what's happening now, except it was Ian and Bo and myself who were answering the questions. So a wider range of responses and fewer lies. Just kidding. Oh, is my microphone not working?
Well, it fell off.
Doesn't matter anyway.
How long has this been happening? Is this?
Well, I think it happened when you went over to the box.
Oh dear. Well, hopefully it will be all right. And you know, I'm happy to answer anything else. Is that all good? I'm like,
thanks, guys.
So thrilled that you would all sit here and watch this movie. I hope that you enjoyed it. And I hope you'll check out Keene if you haven't done so already.
Yeah, we've got Social Sunday happening on Sunday, so if you're looking for something to do after Liberty Forum, come on by Keene. We've got it at 5:30 at McHugh's, just as we do every week, which would be a great opportunity to come check it out.
Oh yeah.
How much are the discs?
Yeah, right now
$10.
$10.
Yeah. Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
All right, well, thanks a lot, and
enjoy the Liberty Forum.
Yeah,
to invite you to visit freekeen.com. Freekeen.com features audio, video, and blogs chronicling the transition to a voluntary society. Freekeen.com also has comments and discussion forums so you can be heard. Freekeen.com.
I should be in Keene, New Hampshire with the Free Staters.